it says there's an error. All right. Hi, everybody. Good morning. So today we're going to be talking about Campaign Engine, which is a new thing that we just launched. And I got Craig Witt with me, and Craig's our new CRO. Craig, you want to give yourself an intro?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Been partnering with Rob on the revenue side. I've been in the CRO seat for a couple decades, and really excited to be partnering with Rob, and really excited on showing you guys some capabilities that are part of GTM Engine today. And yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll just jump into it. So as everybody knows, the GTM Engine revenue data platform, our entire thing is like, let's unify all of the data. Let's like clean up your CRM. Let's make sure that all the first party and third party data that you're collecting throughout, marketing processes, throughout SDR processes, sales processes, and customer success processes are actually like all flowing back into the same data model. And then what we heard from our customers is that, well, we want to act on that data, right? Like we want to enter people into campaigns. We want like true personalization, because like we're putting data in a place where it's never been before, which allows like completely new capabilities. And instead of relying on these like older type of tools, not to call anybody out specifically, but things like Marketo and stuff like that are kind of like old guard and like built for the pre-AI world. There's probably like a new class of tools that are going to come out to do this sort of thing. And since we already own the data, it made total sense for us to do it. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen. I don't have any slides or anything like that. Anybody who knows me and like my whole way of doing things knows that I don't like to actually go through any slides. So we're just gonna jump right into a demo. All right, so let's see if I can get this thing to work.
And Rob, they won't be surprised that I don't have a slide or two either.
And can you see my screen, Craig? Just looking
no,
at it.
I
think it is.
I'm still just seeing you.
Okay.
You and me.
It might just be because like we're in the stream. Anyways, we'll figure all this out. So there's just jumping right into campaigns. I'll talk about the data here and like how to enroll folks into campaigns later. But there's two types of campaigns here. There's live campaigns and there's scheduled campaigns. So live campaigns are what you would typically think of as like a cold outbound campaign. Like you enroll somebody in a campaign and like that's when they start. So like these things are always ongoing. You just add folks to them and then they kind of like start the cadence or sequence of that. There can be like different types of steps within this, email steps and LinkedIn steps to like add somebody, calls, like whatever, right? So outbound, but also like things that typically you would think of as like marketing, like more like nurture campaigns. So somebody signed up for a webinar, you want to enter them into a nurture campaign because they've kind of raised their hand, but maybe they're not ready for like a sales call yet. So you just want to like continue the education. There's a really cool one that we can do because we're embedded with all the actual sales data as well, where when somebody first gets associated with an opportunity. So the way that we do this is, we're tracking all the sales back and forth data. So like, let's say somebody in an open opportunity, like loops in a colleague on like an email thread or invites them to a meeting. We'll automatically associate that new email address. We'll create a contact form and then associate them with the account and the opportunity. And that can be a trigger to enter them into like a consideration campaign. So would be a campaign where it's like, they're actively talking to the sales team, but just because that's happening and like the handoff has happened to the sales team doesn't mean that marketing can't help. Right. So as they're, talking with the sales team, they're also getting this drip, every 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever you decide, of content to help them with their education.
Hey, Rob, here a point I was going to add. If you think about it in practice, especially on enterprise deals that have sales cycles can be 4, 5, 6+ months, the ability to be able to either enroll or have a library of campaigns that you can pick from with deals that are already in motion is very powerful, because it's the glue that keeps everybody together. So if I had a really good call with Rob today, but my scheduled next step is not for 3 weeks, and I have 10 of these, and I'm a sales rep, I'm thinking about, okay, I want to keep our name in front of the prospects, the contacts. I want it personalized. You very rarely will salespeople have the time to do it or remember to do it. But with the campaigns capability, you can have those scheduled. You can also enroll people into it, and that's the glue that keeps the rhythm going, so they don't forget how to spell. I'll use GTM Engine here as an example. They don't forget how to spell GTM Engine, right?
Yeah, that's such a good point.
There, and it's thought leadership. There's not necessarily call to actions. There can be, but that glue is very, very powerful. To be able to keep it orchestrated all the way through the sales cycle.
Yep, and we'll show how to actually build some of these here in a minute. There's a bunch of other stuff too that happens. I mean, because being in sales myself for a long time, those moments are always super awkward, right? Because they're like, hey, follow up in 3 weeks or a month or like whatever, and you're like, okay, well, this is pretty much dead. And like, how do I keep them remembering me this long? Like without being awkward and like too intrusive and off-putting, right? The perfect way to do that. It's not you, it's marketing. And it allows marketing to come in and actually like impact this stuff. And the other thing that's like really, really neat about this is because this is all tied in with your CRM, we're creating activities for each of these things. So you actually know every single activity that a contact has been a part of. Like you can see it in the timeline. And actually I'll just like pull this up right here. I'll just pull up this contact that happens to be here. You can actually see every single activity. So this could be, we sent them a marketing campaign email. This could be, we added them on LinkedIn. It could be, whatever a sales email, like occur normally, a call, they attended the webinar, like you name it, right? So it's like this unified activity system, which allows you to actually go back and run attribution, say like after a deal closes, like, what are all the touch points that it took to get this deal closed?
And the cool piece about that is that it's tracked, so you have evidence, right? You can go back and actually see. Could be the couple of emails, could be they attended a webinar, could be that they went to the website, whatever the case may be. It's not just tracking an activity, it's tracking the activity and also provides the supporting evidence underneath it. So you can do further analysis on that as well.
Exactly. And you can quickly build these reports, probably for a different webinar, but you can build natural language reports and just say like, hey, show me all my closed won opportunities where they attended, this particular webinar, or we sent them they engaged with a newsletter, whatever that might be. You can just like define this in natural language and like, we'll give you the report. So you can quickly spin up attribution, whatever way you want to, because this is all unified into a single common data model. So another one that's like kind of neat as far as these like live campaigns, like close lost, like automatically enroll somebody in a close lost campaign. And like one of the neat things about this, before I get into this like whole thing here, I'm actually just gonna, okay, here we go. Just show this, because like basically you can have a first step that has a wait time. So I could say like 90 days. And call this campaign like a closed lost, like touch base or something. So every time, and this automatically enroll with triggers. So every single campaign that you set up, you can add a trigger to. So I could say like, when an opportunity is closed lost. So record updated, opportunity, stage, change to closed lost. This is my trigger. So I just named this closed lost. And now anybody associated with this closed lost deal at the moment this closed lost is going to be entered into this closed lost campaign automatically. And then it's actually going to delay the first send by 90 days or whatever you choose here, right? So like basically you already have this like baked in touch point. So you can start to like automate all these processes that you've always wanted to do, but have been basically impossible to do. Because if you think about like something like this, like Craig, like how many people on your sales teams throughout like your career have actually filled out, say like the opportunity contact role in Salesforce?
Very, very few.
Yeah, if any. And then that's my experience too. And we're automating that part, right?
Yeah. The cool piece about this as well is close loss. There's been many times sales teams over my career have gone back to close loss, and they've been able to rejuvenate. But it was not across the entire sales team. It was a sales rep or two that would go back and do it, and they would have very good success. Just because the deal is closed loss doesn't mean that they're not gonna buy in the future. And it also, this process keeps them updated on all the new things that are coming out from your company. It keeps us top of mind, right? They might have gone with another vendor, but then they get into the project after the rolling that technology out, and they might have a really bad experience, and they're like, gosh, I wish I would have gone with us. And we keep feeding that information to them, and then they'll raise their hand. If that experience is bad with whoever they selected, they'll raise their hand. And it's a good fundamental practice, though.
Yep, exactly. And it's like, it's not a thing you have to even remember how to do. Like once you set up the process, it just happens, right? So let's go back and let's start with a scheduled campaign, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just build from scratch. As you can see, there's no scheduled campaign here. I'm going to build from scratch our newsletter, right? So there's a few different ways to do this, but I'm going to show you the coolest way. So first thing is you have to choose the audience, and this audience is defined, and then it's right before it's sent, it's actually the query is run, so it's live, right? So say for a newsletter, you can have an audience that you build and save. Here I'm just gonna do something a little silly. I'm gonna say contacts who used to work at Adobe. Because we're doing all this enrichment across all of our contacts automatically, every time a new contact is added, and we can backfill from your CRM and deduplicate and all that stuff. You can actually run natural language queries like this on things like work history. I could say everybody that used to everybody that has this particular field, or you name it, right? You just build this in real time. It's deduplicated automatically. It shows you total audience, so 127. I can now save this as an audience so I can reuse. And again, this query is going to run before send every single time. So if I schedule this to run in a month, it's going to be whatever the state of this query is at runtime, not what it is right now that I see. So you can also add suppression lists. So this would be folks that you don't want. So you could add to suppression lists competitors or people who have opted out, but people who have unsubscribed are automatically going to be suppressed from this stuff. So the coolest part here is now I want to build the content. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up Genie. So this is our agent that exists throughout the UI, and I'm going to say I want to build our newsletter. Help me make an awesome template for it. The idea here is 4 to 5 articles with blurbs in the newsletter and links to the full article. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to say newsletter example templates. I'm just going to find one that I like. So here, I'll just grab this. I'm going to grab this as an image. And I'm going to come back here. I'm just going to drop this image into here. I'm just going to say use the attached image as an example of a layout I like. So I just send this into Genie. So now this agent is going to think about the problem here. It's really cool, full reasoning, full tool use. You can see it's reasoning, kind of it's background thinking and stuff like that. So what it's going to do here is it's going to think about the problem for a while. Then it's going to start to actually build the email template, and we'll be able to see this, live and in real time. So this thing is really neat because how hard is it to design these things? You're probably using an editor and doing all this stuff. Here you could just define it. You can say here, just use this image as the example, and it's you can see it's going through here right now. It's even inserting variables into here. It's putting placeholder content in, but you'll see in a second, I can just like drop in like other articles and say like, all right, I want this to be article 1, or I want this to be article 2, or like whatever. I'm even going to do, let's see, I have our brand colors right here. So I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to say like, can we make this our brand colors? And then while that's running, I'm also going to go to our website. I'm just going to copy our logo here. So copy the URL. Say like, after this is done redesigning it in our brand colors, we'll just give it our logo link and it'll drop that in there. Once I have this saved too, if I want to use this template over and over again, just for like different content, I can just like come in and reschedule it with use Genie to like drop in different content and then send it off. So like, I don't have to like, this is like a one-time build thing, but then like editing this stuff becomes very, very easy. Right, I can just like come in if I want to change anything about it, I can do that. So it's like thinking through like how is this going to use all of our brand colors to like make this look good. And the idea here is I just go back and forth until I like really like where this is at. I like the design. I can give it the hero image. And actually, let's go back to like our blog. I'm just going to drop these things in here. So I'm just going to say like this one, this one, this one, and this one. So we'll use these articles in the newsletter to send this off. Here, let's add our logo in here too. Drop that in.
Rob, as you're doing that, if you think about the benefits of a single platform, to be able to do some of the things that that you just demoed would take a handful or a bag of tools independent of one another to be able to do that, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like even just having like your newsletter and then like tying this back into the CRM data for who has opened it, who has actually clicked a link in it, like, you know, hey, maybe I want to then now build a list of people who have like interacted with my newsletter and put them in like a different campaign to, you know, do like a nurture campaign or something, right? Like, how would you do that with any other system? Like, you can't. Or like, let's say like this contact ultimately becomes an opportunity. I want to look back and I want to see like how well educated are they? Okay, well, I see they're a newsletter subscriber. I see they've been part of the nurture campaign. I see that they responded to this like cold outbound campaign that they had put together. Like all that is actually tied right back in. So when we generate the meeting prep for that very first meeting, all that context is captured in there, and so the rep goes in knowing exactly who they're talking to.
Yeah, the cool thing is that it is part of the foundation of GTM Engine is the ability to track interactions at the contact level, at the account level, at the opportunity level, and have that historically as well. So you might be engaging with a prospect, and then for whatever reason there's it goes in the parking lot, and you got 6 months where you haven't had any engagement. The system will pull up to you, and you can go back and track every single thing that you've historically done in a click, right? That would in any other systems out there, that would take you forever. And the other thing is that if you were having interactions with this contact or group of contacts and it got paused, and you were having those interactions, let's say in Slack, one of the things that GTM Engine does as well is it captures all that. It doesn't keep it in Slack. It also attaches it to the contact. It attaches it to the opportunity. It attaches at the account level. So there's integrations that the platform has done to continually have a 360-degree view at whatever level, contact, opportunity, account level, that's of interest to you.
Exactly. Yep. 100%. So basically I'm just going back and forth, and I'm just like using Genie to like edit this thing. Like I could come in and I could edit like the raw HTML. I don't want to do that. And then everybody who's used like a builder before, knows that those are super limited. Like with AI and its ability to write code, like you can literally just drop in anything and it'll build it for you. Track anything, like, whatever. Like I could keep going, and I think everybody gets the point, but I could even just like drop in the URL and it'll scrape that URL, the content. It'll come up with the blurb here based on the content in that URL, and then it'll link to it. And then boom, like in 5-10 minutes, I have my entire newsletter based on content that I've already written that I can now send out. And so the next step here, once you're good with this, is schedule it, choose which inbox you want to send it from, which is actually a good segue to talk about inboxes and warm up and stuff before we get into, say, something like a cold outbound campaign. So let's jump over to that section. So one thing with cold outbound is, you think of like tools like SalesLoft and Outreach probably predominantly right away. Everybody who I've talked to says that they're getting basically 0 results from those tools, and I think there's a few reasons why. I think the first one is that it's doubtful that the emails that are sent from those platforms are even landing in somebody's inbox. So you have basically a 0% chance of getting a reply if they don't see it, right? So the number one thing, if you're going to do cold outbound, is to first make sure that you can land in people's inboxes. So the best way to do that for cold outbound is to set up a bunch of subdomains that you own. You can have like 1 to 3 mailboxes per subdomain that you would use for outbound. But a subdomain actually inherits your domain reputation without impacting your primary domain reputation. So like if this does eventually down the line get marked as spam, it's not going to affect the emails coming from like your direct team. Right, so you already start off in a good place, and then you want to warm each domain or each mailbox within this as well. So we have this built in. Like you literally just click a button and it warms it. It takes about 2 weeks to warm a mailbox, but basically what it's doing here is it's sending out a bunch of different emails, so it looks like a real inbox, right? And after that 2-week period, Google's like, okay, these guys are legit. Microsoft is like, these guys are legit. We'll allow these to land in the inbox. Now, this doesn't always remain the case, right? Over time, if enough people mark it as spam, and if you send, say, like too many bounced emails and things like that, these are all indicators that will have them mark it as spam. So we have this health check, which you can run manually, just clicking this button. Basically what this does is this sends out 100 or so emails to various inboxes that we're tracking, just to see where they land. Do they land in the inbox? Do they land in spam? Do they land as marked as like promotional? And then we have a health check on this. You can also turn on automated weekly health checks, which means like we'll run every single mailbox and just do this check weekly. And then if we find that the health score is below 50, meaning like over half of the emails aren't landing in the inbox, we want to auto disable these, because this can actually impact all the other surrounding mailboxes as well. Because it's possible that like, Rob at em.gtmengine.ai has like a really low health score because just maybe random chance, or maybe the emails that my campaigns have been sending out like haven't been good. That health score could be bad, but yours could be good. But if I leave mine alive, it's going to start to impact the surrounding inboxes. So like having this like auto disable is a really, really powerful feature. So it's like basically making sure that like your entire outbound infrastructure is healthy, warmed, and anything that is like declining in health is basically like offboarded before it can impact other things.
Yeah, you would have to use separate tools or separate services to do that in most solutions in the market right now. With it being part of the platform, it allows you to do all of your campaign outbound interactions all in one place. And I think it's cool. You can have as many of those mailboxes as you want, warming up the process. But Rob, I think you mentioned, but if not, you can see the health of those mailboxes almost in real time as the screen shows. You can see them and how they're progressing, so when they're truly healthy, and then you can launch your campaigns. You're not guessing, right?
Exactly.
The data is right there, and it's not somebody else's opinion. You're not guessing. The data is there, and you wait till the data is right to then go execute your campaigns.
Yep. And we'll show you. So like basically you can only send out about 30 emails per warmed mailbox as well. Any more than that, and it'll start to get marked as spam automatically by the algorithms that Google and Microsoft use here. So basically what we can do is we can tell you, based on the number of mailboxes that you have set up that are warmed, what is your safe capacity? Based on your warming pool, after warm up, what will be your safe capacity to send? How many need to be decommissioned? And then how many emails have you sent? And like how many emails do you have scheduled to be sent in the next 14 days versus the past 7 days? And it'll actually show you like, hey, we actually recommend like more capacity, or capacity is sufficient, but review these health recommendations before increasing volume. So essentially what we're doing is like we're having this like live view. So if you can only send out 30 emails per mailbox, right, and you want to send out 1,000 a day or like whatever, well, you can back into the math of how many mailboxes you're going to need to set up, and then you want to have this warming pool of like mailboxes that can like jump in and take the place of these decommissioned mailboxes as they maybe like lose health and need to be offboarded.
And if you think about it in practice as well, because I've been through this in my career, you're trying to figure out, are emails as part of a campaign, are they landing? Are they not landing? And do we think they're getting read? Are they going in spam? So doing root cause analysis and being able to check off that variable is like, hey, we know it's not because of this reason, right? Because we went through the steps, we have the data, they're warmed up, we're tracking whether they're going into the inboxes or not. So that as being a variable and doing root cause analysis is checked off, and then you can say, hey, maybe it's my messaging, right? Maybe I'm not going after the right persona, maybe it's the market right now, but it's not because of spam. And that's
or maybe we're just going after accounts that aren't ready to buy. There's all sorts of different things, but you got to cross that first thing off the board before you even can attempt to do that like downstream analysis, because if it's not landed in inboxes, or you're not sure if it's even landed in inboxes, like you're just guessing at that point.
Yeah, and that's a brutal place to be. I've been there, and more times than I care. And being able to have that addressed is such a step forward. Very exciting piece of the platform, and it sounds simple, but it's not, and it's impactful.
Yeah, you got to get this stuff right for any of this to work, even for marketing domains, right? Like if you have like marketing.brand.com, you want to make sure that that's not landing in spam. Follows the same rules. So you have to like warm the domain. So we do have domain warming built in. And then because this is a one-stop shop, you can also add your own domains in here as well. So if you want to add like a domain, like a subdomain or something like that, you literally just go in here, and I could say like signal.gtmengine.ai, add this domain. What it's going to do then is it's going to spin up the DNS records. Then you'll have to like send that to your IT team to like update the DNS records because you own this domain. Let me refresh and see if this is here. Yeah, so here we go. So then I basically just copy this entire thing, send it to my IT team. They update the DNS records, and we can start sending from this domain. You want to warm the mailbox, like all that. So this is for a domain that you own. You can also buy a new domain. These would be like the burner domains. You also see often like, try gtmengine.ai, or, whatever, email gtmengine.ai, GTM Engine now. We don't actually recommend that. So we actually have this agent which will suggest names. And these will be like top level domains that aren't spammy sounding, like try gtmengine.ai. It will be different domains from your primary domain that are related to your brand, right? So like they're there, and like the thing is like Google and Microsoft are getting smart about this stuff. So like if they see, like let's say your brand is like I don't know, like Adobe, right? So they'll see like tryadobe.com as a spammy domain. They've caught on to that trick. So what you want to do is like buy these other top level domains. We just pass through this cost, like we don't charge anything extra for buying a domain. If you buy it through this system too, like we automatically set up all the DNS stuff. We work with a partner called Mission Inbox to help us with our sending. Shout out to them. Their infrastructure is awesome. They have like IP pools and everything like that. The ensured deliverability is always high. But basically, we integrate with them to take this domain buying and then automatically set up the DNS rules there. So it's like a one-click thing, and you're ready to go. You're ready to add mailboxes. You're ready to start warming and then eventually start sending. So another cool feature here that works. All right, so now that we got this covered, I do want to jump over. Once you have these campaigns running, we do have this unified inbox concept as well. So let me jump over into here. So basically, since you're sending out from all these different domains, you probably want like one place to manage all this. And like this is pretty common nowadays. Like you'll see this with some of the other outbound tools. But this is like outbound and all other campaigns put together. So like if you're comparing against like Instantly or something like that, similar concept to the unified inbox, except one, it's tied back to the CRM. This data is automatically created as an activity on the contact and synced back to your CRM without you having to do anything. You can reply directly from here. You can use our Genie agent to help you reply directly from here. And it's all unified into one thing. So as you're using all these different like mailboxes and domains, you can just have like one or a couple people that are kind of like in charge of monitoring the inbox. We'll also flag if it's a positive response. So there's like 3 flavors here. There's like positive, negative, and out of office. So positive and negative both unenroll the contact from the campaign, and out of office does not. So if it looks like an out of office email, they'll continue on, and then we'll actually even push back the delivery of the next one if they've put in their out of office message when they're returning. So sometimes you'll see like I'm out of office until this date. Well, if the next scheduled message was going to go out July 25th, but we know that it's not until July 27th. So here we say like this is an out of office auto response with a clear return date of July 27th. Well, guess what? Like we're not going to send that scheduled one out on the 25th because we know they're out of office till the 27th. We're pushing that back until they get back. So another really cool feature here. So there's that, and then let's jump in and let's actually like build a another live campaign because I think this stuff is super fun.
So you're going to build a live campaign, Rob, and then maybe after that, if we can talk a little bit about now that we have it all set up, the mailbox are warmed. We're now building that campaign, and then after that, being able to talk about here are the contacts, here are the personas, here are the people that we want to go after. How you're enriching those, how you're doing email searches, how all of that is built into the platform. Does that make sense to do after that, or is that?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we'll build this, and then we'll go and we'll build a list of, we'll look at like who are the most prime, ready, high propensity to buy accounts that we can start to enroll in campaigns. We'll talk through that, and then we'll actually even then go and build a list of contacts and enroll them in the campaign in one click. So all in one place. So I don't have to like go to Clay and like build a list of whatever people who follow this or like have this job title. I can do this all right here. It's all enriched. Do the email enrichment, do the phone enrichment, and do the auto enroll of the campaign in one place. The cool thing about this too, and we'll talk about this down the line, is that if you're only targeting your high propensity accounts, which you should be doing, you should be very targeted around how you're doing outbound. If there's no evidence that somebody's ready to buy, like why waste your time on that? You want to put more effort into the ones that are ready to buy. And we surface all that stuff for you too through signal tracking, what we call propensity signals. All right, so I'm just going to tell Jeannie I'm going to put together a cold outbound campaign. Can you suggest the number of steps and channel mix for me? So I'm going to put all the onus on Jeannie on this entire thing. All right, so it gave me a few options. I actually like, let's do option C. See, one we're targeting, so I'm just going through these questions right here. So we're targeting, let's see, enterprise companies with a sales team over 5 people, usually the GTM leadership. Let's see, 2, use our product understanding you already have here. So basically when we integrate with customers as well, we gather all this information, your products, your offerings, their value prop, their competitive landscape, how you think about ROI, how you price. So like this is already like baked in and built into GTM Engine. So let's do friendly, but not overly friendly, straight to the point, no wasted words. That was the number 4 one. I want to keep this to a few sentences. 4, I'll say no CTA. All right, so I have all its questions answered. So I'm just going to ship it off. It's going to think through this problem. If you've ever used a tool like Cursor, let's see, before I build this one, quick here, no CTA approach. Yeah, just value and stop, no question, they'll know to respond. All right, so if you ever used like a tool like Cursor or anything like that, it's super neat. It's like basically like it's using agents to build code. Think of this as like Cursor for go-to-market. You use this agent here to put together the campaigns. I don't want to button click, and you can come in here just like you can like hand write code if you want, but I don't want to button click. Like I want this thing to do it for me. So here I can see it's already putting together the configuration. First step, all these steps here. So you'll see it'll continuously like edit all this stuff, and this is what these tool calls are here. It's basically the agent like executing these tools to put together all the content in the UI here, and the configuration. So it's executing a lot of tools, which is pretty cool. It's basically, think of it as like 100 hands, and it's like touching like all these things at one time. And we'll start to see all this stuff come back in here, and the UI get updated, which you can already see start to happen. I gave it a name. Actually, okay, so here you can start to see it. Change this to a LinkedIn DM, call script, email. It's putting in the AI guidance. And so what's cool about this is like, if you want to do like AI generated outbound, like most of it sucks. Like it's absolute garbage. It's based on like one signal. Like you'll say like, hey, I saw you went to, you're from Chicago. Like, do you like deep dish pizza? Like, stupid stuff like that. It's like, it's not gonna work, right? This is based on all the account research and propensity research that we've done on your top target accounts, in addition to all the contact research that we've done. And the great thing is like, you're not enriching just to do cold outbound. This information stays with you. So you can use this for targeting marketing campaigns. You can use this to generate meeting preps when like they ultimately do book a meeting. Like this is all there, but like, let's take a look at like the research that we did on deal. We'll come back to the campaign. I'm just going to let that build in the background. So here I have their propensity score is 82 out of 100, which is really high. It gives me the reasoning as to why. I can actually look at all the individual signals that we've set up here. So it looks like they have a lot of sales role openings. They're mentioning AI-driven pipeline management and Salesforce integration and data capture automation. Like that sounds directly up our alley here. And everything is cited and sourced. So it's giving like this score, this particular signal sales role openings, a really high score of 86 out of 100 because it aligns with our value prop really well. And this is custom for every single customer. So instead of using like a generic signal that everybody has, like somebody just changed a job, right? Now they get like bombarded with cold outbound. You can be much more like nuanced and have your own custom signals, which are actually like really easy to set up here too in the propensity scoring config. You just tell it what you want to track, and we figure out all the rest.
So it continues to be, so at the enterprise level, it's a productivity platform. But if you think about it at the individual contributors level, whether it's a marketing person, whether it's an SDR, whether it's a sales rep, whether it's CS, whatever the case may be, it is providing capabilities that will also at the individual level be a productivity enhancer. Because some of the things that Rob has just shown, you would have to go off and manually do that, right? If you had targeted accounts, you could write some code to go off to do it. But if you had targeted accounts, you might have to go to all 50 websites and look at job roles that are open, or go to LinkedIn. It would be a very manual, semi-manual process. We do it for you right here instantly.
Yep.
Exactly. So this is just not for operational efficiency across the enterprise. This is individual contributor, no matter what role you're in on a revenue team, an individual contributor performance enhancement as well.
100%. And then, so going back to the campaign thing here, like we built up the whole campaign, and then Jeannie here helped put together the content instructions. So it's like the instructions of like how to generate the emails for each step, or emails or LinkedIn DMs or like whatever. So I can see all this stuff here. I can see the call script that I put together, second email. So here I can see like this email right here, right? And then now, okay, so this didn't really work well. So I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to start to refine this. I could say like, let's try this again. That looks like the prompt. So I'm going to apply this feedback. It's going to like regenerate the instructions and then like retest this against the contact that I choose. It'll automatically even suggest like a contact from within your CRM or within our system to test against. And this process is really, really powerful. So like it generates the content instructions. First pass of like AI generated content instructions, and like the output you're going to get is like probably not going to be good. Like you're going to want to test it. You're going to want to give it feedback. Instead of prompt engineering though, you just tell it what you like and what you don't like about it. So then it'll be able to like go in and it'll be like, okay, yeah, I gotta edit this. So you continuously do this like this feedback loop, right? Like refine it, apply the feedback, retest it. You can say this step looks good, this step doesn't look good. You can actually even compare model output. So we'll even show you like if you're using, say, our default model for this right here, GPT 5.6 Tera, it's going to cost you 25 cents per run, right? But there are cheaper models out there. And I know everybody, like the influencers on LinkedIn, they'll say like, oh yeah, you got to use like Claude Fable 5 to generate your cold outbound. It's like, okay, well that's $1. And is it actually any different? Because like really context is king here. And if we've already done like all the research on the contact and the account, you can actually like writing an email, you don't need a Ferrari to drive to your neighbor's next door, right? Like you can get away with, I'm actually going to try it here, but you can get away with like a cheaper model, right? If I can do this and get the same output for 2 cents a pop versus 25 cents versus $1, like this is the one I'm going to use. So you can generate these comparisons and actually show you side by side, like what the output is going to be from all these different models.
So Rob, is that what you're showing, the column comparison? You show that
exactly.
of what model to use?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
So I mean, even GPT 5.4 Nano for 2 cents, right? It's giving me an email that's like really, really. I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to refine this, but it's giving me an email that looks good, right? Now we'll see what Fable 5 comes back with. One that's taking forever and it's gonna cost $1. Right. And we'll see if it's even any better at all.
Again, that's the benefit of having it all in one platform and being able to be model agnostic. You can run certain flows with one model. You can pick another flow with a different model. We serve that up to you, and you can compare from a cost perspective, but also on a quality perspective, and not be locked into just one or two, whatever works best for whatever you're trying to execute. And each one's a little bit, is a little bit different, and the cost associated with it. So there are no surprises. All in one platform, tied to everything else that Rob has been talking about, is fantastic.
Yeah, if you compare the 2 cent model versus the $1 model here, like I'd be hard pressed to like neither of these I think are good emails. So like again, I'm gonna have to like go back and like give it more feedback and refine it. And this you will go through like 5 to 6 iterations of this before you're like, wow, this is actually really, really landing. This is really good. But anyways, so like, as you can see here, like it's not like, would you pay 50 times more for this email than this email? I mean, I wouldn't. And the whole thing of like how we work too, we work like a utility. So like we're just passing through the model costs, right? And we have like all this stuff like baked in to like save on costs, like prompt caching and things like that. So the number you see here isn't like a markup that we have on top of this. There's some like processing costs that we have and a platform fee, of course, but any model usage that you have, like we just pass that through at cost that the model providers charge us. So the other neat thing about this in campaigns is you can also have a bunch of different other steps. So like a LinkedIn DM, right? You can also even have this. So it, here, let me go back to edit mode here. So it creates a task for you. So you'll actually get a task assigned to you. So you can like manually go and do this. So this allows you to like add custom steps as well. So if I just manually add a step here, I could say send an email, send a LinkedIn DM, an in-mail, call script, voicemail, a custom task. So it could be like, you know, go knock on their door, I don't know, like whatever you want. Engage with posts, things like this, which like aren't automated, but are still good ideas to do. So like engage with posts, create a task for this. Just remind me. So every day when I go to my home screen, like I can see like my tasks here. What do I need to do today? Right, and this is going to be on there. It's like, okay, I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go like, you know, these are different tasks, but I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go like engage with some of their posts. And it'll link me to their LinkedIn profile too. So like it makes it very, very easy. So every contact, it just does that.
So you don't have to go to LinkedIn and find them. You just click on it, and it takes you right there, and you can see the posts that they've had, so you can engage in them. Correct?
Exactly. Yep. Task is created for me, links directly to their LinkedIn profile. I go there, I like some of their posts. They start to see my name. Maybe down the line, I send them a LinkedIn DM, like whatever, right? Like all this stuff could be configured to like whatever sort of like sequence that you want. It could be AI generated. It can be a template. It can be plain text for deliverability. It could be full HTML if it's a, you know, more of like a sequence that's like a nurture or consideration campaign that you want to be more marketing. So like all this stuff is supported within like the exact same engine right here. So then I save this campaign. And then, yeah, so it's warning me that there's some broken things. Anyways, like I'm not going to do that right now. But this is part of it, right? Like AI doesn't get everything right every single time. You do have to fix some stuff. So I can actually go in and I'll actually like highlight in here, like what's broken, and I can come in and I can fix this. And if you are a prompt engineer, you can click on the advanced thing here. And you can come in, you can actually see the prompts that we're generating. So you can see like, okay, what's going into generating these things. And if you want to directly update this, you can do that. You can insert variables from the account that the contact is related to, or the contact themselves that you want to put in here. So you can see there's all this stuff. You'll get more and more familiar with it as you do it. This is definitely like an advanced feature, but it is there. So lastly, now that we have this campaign set up, I want to start to enroll people in this. So I'm going to go to my top target accounts. We looked at this a little bit before, but basically this is telling you of like, hey, every account that you have in your CRM right now, these are the ones that are most ready to buy, and we have evidence for it. We even put together like a whole plan, and this actually like goes into the content creation as well. Like, what's our entry wedge here? What are the urgency drivers? What are the compelling events that have happened that would allow us to get in? So like now it can be like much more strategic around how I break into an account versus just like building a playlist and saying like, hey, you're from Chicago. Do you like pizza? By the way, like, let's talk if you want, you know, our services. And like nobody responds to that stuff. So you're actually taking like a much more nuanced approach here. So basically all you need to do is, let's say I want to enroll this account. I can click enroll, click continue. I can also even add contacts at this time. And so within GTM Engine, you set up your target personas. So like the types of folks that you sell to. So here it's going to find the sales leaders and the revenue operations folks at this account if we don't already have them. And it's going to also enroll the contacts that we also have there. I can also define the max number of contacts that I want to find. In the campaign configuration itself, what you'll set up too is, and this is important, so enrichment. So if you try to enroll a contact that you don't have an email for, obviously you're not going to be able to email them. So you can just flip this toggle on, and we'll go and like we'll send them through our waterfall to find their email. You also don't want emails to bounce. So if you already have an email for a contact, like we don't know when that email was added, and it's like very likely that that email is no longer valid. They've moved on to a different company or like whatever. So we have a way that we can validate that email. And if it's invalid, we just skip it. Like we're not going to try to send to a dead inbox. And then if this contact hasn't been researched in, whatever you want here, default is 60 days. Let's refresh our research on this contact. So like we'll go out and like search the web, use agents to see if they've written any articles, what they post about on socials, what their work history might be. We want to make sure that when we're generating personalized content, that it's actually recent and it's not referencing something from like an enrichment that we did, a year ago and never bothered to update. And you only do this at campaign enrollment time, right? So you're not spending a ton of money finding emails and like enriching contacts that like one, you have no evidence they're going to respond anyway. And then two, if they don't respond, you've spent all that money. And it's like driving a car out, like a new car off the lot. Like as soon as you enrich somebody, like the value of that data is just like starts to decrease over time. It just becomes irrelevant. Like it's no longer recent. It's no longer relevant. The emails go bad over time. I think it's like the number is like 30 to 35% of like enrichment data is bad after a year. So you only want to do this when you're actually like doing something like enrolling them in a campaign that you want to spend the money on. And then lastly, let's say I do want to build a list of contacts. So I can click add new contacts. I can drop in like a CSV that I exported. Like maybe it's like a list from like, badges we scanned at an event or something like that, right? Or maybe I want to find lookalikes for folks that already exist in our CRM. So I want to find folks similar to Craig. I can add additional filters here. I can say like, okay, similar folks, but they're in the United States and not Afghanistan. So I can find similar contacts. I can even add company filters here. So like they work at a company that's bigger than X or in this industry or like whatever. So it'll go out and it'll find folks similar to you. I can review these. I can add, I found 444. So I can add as many of these as I want. I'm just going to import 10 because this is just an example. And I can add a tag. So I'd say like similar to Craig. So I'll add this as a tag. I'm going to import these contacts. So it'll load these in the background. I can go off and I can do other stuff like importing contacts doesn't take a long time. As you can see here, they're now being enriched. Then I can build a list. So I could say, show me the contacts that are similar to Craig. But since this is like a small amount, I'm just going to like select them. And then I can bulk enroll. So actions, and I can enroll in the campaign. And I can choose this campaign that we just set up, and they're going to be enrolled in that campaign.
So think about this. I know everybody always talks about account-based, but this is the execution layer to allow you to do account-based across the revenue team. And you also have the data, so it allows you to do orchestration as well. So as we enrich and customize and personalize the messaging to the contacts that were selected, now you can say, listen, I'm going to go deep on 30 accounts instead of saying I'm going to go shallow on 300, and be able to be extremely effective in having current data, being able to match messaging, be able to track the engagement in real time. You've seen how Rob has built the list, and then Rob, don't know if if you have time on this one, is there a couple things, because I can think as an operator here that I would also want to see some reports, or I'd want to see some results. If you can talk about the natural language, which I think is fantastic, because you don't always know what you want to look at. There's a starting point. You can get some results of the campaigns, and then ask the data some more questions, and be able to support self-serve your questioning within the platform, as opposed to having to go run reports and create a dashboard and do all these things that a typical CRM or marketing automation system forces you to do. This doesn't force you to do that. It's very simple.
Yep, exactly. And I don't have like a good campaign here, unfortunately, with the data, but
okay.
It will show you like the number that have been completed, the number of those that have replied, the number that are currently enrolled, the number that are scheduled. It'll show like the number of sends, positive replies, negative replies, out of office replies. If you are click tracking, which I wouldn't recommend for cold outbound, it'll show that. Then it shows the performance of each step, so you can actually see like, you know, what are our reply rates like per step. And then you can start to use that to fine tune the content that's in there. Then you can even like drop that into Genie and say like, hey, looking at the performance of this, what can we do to improve, you know, steps that are maybe underperforming, and have this like feedback loop going on. But again, none of that works if nothing lands in the inbox. Like starting at the top, like all the like domain warm up and buying domains and all that stuff is super important. Then you can see all the contacts that have been enrolled in this campaign. The cool thing about that is like, this also will show you at the contact level each campaign that they've been a part of. You can actually click on that and then like see the content that they got too. So if you know, Byron here has been in like 10 different campaigns across the life cycle, I'll actually see every single campaign that he's been a part of as a timeline, and then be able to see the exact content that he received as well, and it'll show me when he responded too.
Very cool.
Awesome. So I think we're about out of time here. A ton more here. If you guys are interested in seeing more, it's freemium, so you can sign up for free and you can start using this stuff today. If you want to talk to, you know, Craig or myself or someone else from the team, reach out, and we can walk you through and see if it'd be a good fit for you guys as well.
Awesome.
Well, thanks everybody.
Have a good rest of your day. Bye for now.